ABC Sports presents the Professional Bowlers Tour, celebrating our 25th year on television. Today, we're live in Toledo, Ohio for the second jewel in bowling's Triple Crown, the PBA National Championship. These 5 bowlers have qualified for a shot at the $45,000 first prize. Pete Weber in our first match, with 1 tournament win to his credit this season in St. Louis. He will face Mike Edwards of Tulsa, Oklahoma, who's in search of his first championship on a trip to the Firestone. That winner will meet Mike Aulby, last year's Player of the Year. Mike is making his first championship round appearance this year. In the number 2 position, Mark Roth, who despite his 32 PBA titles, is looking for his first win in the National Championship. And our tournament leader, last year's Rookie of the Year, Tommy Kreitz. That's our field for the PBA National Championship. And yes, this has been the scene of battle for the Toledo Trust PBA National Championship, the prestigious event on the Pro Bowlers Tour. And we're delighted to be here again to bring you the 6th edition here at the impressive Imperial Lanes. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Schenkel, and you know, after a grueling week, grueling 56-game format, we have come down to the 5 finalists who have an opportunity today, as you saw, to win $45,000. More to it than that, which Bo will tell you about a little bit later on. But in the field, of the 5, 3 of them have earned the hard way, 52 professional titles. And there are 2 young men that want to win their first here in the Pro's finest national championship. Well, we're on the banks of the Maumee here in the glass capital, which has been the bowling capital of the world. And from the banks of the Mississippi, we bring him in. He won here in Toledo, one of his 17 championships. Nelson Burton Jr., Bo.
Thank you, Chris. You're right about a great field. This is one of the finest fields we've had all year long. We have 3 top players up in the championship round, and the reward today is tremendous. Naturally, a major title. Anybody wants to win a major title. Number 2, $45,000. That's a lot of money for one day's work. And number 3, a 7-year exemption, and I think the most important, to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Now, what the players have to contend with today is something different than we've seen before here at Imperial Lanes. They used to have a lacquer surface, which required a ball down the second arrow, very little hook. They switched to a polyurethane surface. The lanes are hooking quite a bit. The players have to play inside, throw the big hook from a deep inside line. And number 2, they have to contend with brand new pins. The solid pocket hit will be rewarded. The light hits, they may not carry every time. So today, the player must keep the ball in the pocket from the inside line, but watch out for the defending champion, Mike Aulby. Chris, we're ready for action.
All right, thank you, Nelson. And there you see vital statistics of that big prize money. $235. Next year it'll be $260. So, Pete Weber now, coming from St. Louis, Florissant, Missouri, a suburb. This is his 2nd championship round appearance this year. Finished 5th in this huge field. He has 1 victory, most important to Pete and his family, winning before the hometown fans in St. Louis, and very impressively. He's going against Mike Edwards of Tulsa. Shot number 1.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
He liked it. He is mic'd with a RF microphone, so you'll hear his comments. We mentioned the parents of Pete Weber, and Jim and Gene Edwards watching in Tulsa, rooting for their son, who's looking for his first victory. Steadily improving, coming off a slump, has been tough here in the championship. Two different styles, and Mike on the right lane leaves the 7-pin, Bo.
Chris, you picked it out. Mike Edwards has an ideal style, but he's had to work on his game a little bit this year. 4-step delivery, cups that ball. Very strong young man. The thing he has to guard against is not topping the ball, trying to hook it too much. And you see he leaves the 7-pin. That's the hit that they're going to have to carry to be a winner today. The solid pocket, I think he'll get most of the time.
All right, now that tension has been released on Mike Edwards, who is 24 years old, has yet to win, whereas his opponent, Pete Weber, in his 7 years, has won 8 titles. And both today would like to move from that first game, go through 4 games, and get it all. And this year, Nelson, we've had them start from this position and win it all.
From the winner of the first match, the winner has come 5 times so far this year. The tournament leader has won twice. But today, for the big money, I think anything can happen.
And it's a 10-pin on the left lane.
And here we see brand new bowling pins. They put them in at the start of the week. They have approximately 200 games on these pins, and you don't get that bouncing pin fall that we often see where the 6-pin, like right there, would bounce out and knock the 10 out of the channel. The premium's going to be on the solid hit. The pocket has been fairly easy to hit from that deep inside line, but carry has been sporadic.
Very smooth cross-lane shot by Mike Edwards of Tulsa. So he is marked with a pair of spares, whereas Pete Weber opened with a strike. Now he'll be shooting in the second frame of our first game, and whoever gets to the top spot and wins it all will have to go through some great champions, because next up to meet the winner of this game will be the defending champion and bowler of the year, Mike Aulby, then the great Mark Roth, followed by Tom Kreitz of Tampa, our tournament leader. Jumping out early, Pete Weber with that double.
Pete Weber with that tremendous style, such a small body, has a good push away. Look at the concentration. The high backswing, he gets that leverage from the top of the swing, then drives through with that pivot step and the tremendous wrist action. And at this time, he generates the kind of pin action that you need to win today. A hit that they did not carry very often this week, the light hit. Weber with his power was able to do it, leads by 11.
You saw after his last shot, which gave him a double, something bothered him in the audience. He should be able to brush off whatever concerned him and go right about his game here in the third frame. But he comes up high, avoids the split, leaves the 6th.
The championship pair, we set up the characteristics of lanes 25 and 26 at Imperial Lanes. 25 looks quite a bit more than 26 as Pete Weber is quickly up on the approach to shoot this spare. He switched balls. He'll make the 6-pin across lane.
Well, Nelson, it's very gratifying on this unusually warm day in Toledo, Ohio, that in that final game today, it's a total of 70,000 at stake. When we first started, we never thought that would happen.
In 1958, the PBA Tour bowled all the season for a total of 58 or 59,000. They've come a long way. Mike Edwards trails by 10.
And he left the 5-pin. Thought he might get it. Can't let his dauber get down now. It's early in the game. Anything can happen.
Here's the pin mix. You watch the head pin go to the sideboard, and if those pins had about 1,000 games or 1,500 games on them, they'd be broken in a little bit more, and they would bounce around just a pinch more, and you would carry that type of hit. Edwards has been around the pocket the first 3 frames, but no strikes as of yet.
So Mike, who's in his first TV appearance of 86. Last year, he was in 4 of them, and he had a very good year, winning 48,385. There you see the 11-pin difference. You see how that came about. The double and a spare and 3 spares for Tulsa's Edwards.
Once again, the championship pair, the left-hand lane, hooks about 3 boards more than the right-hand lane. That's the characteristic of this bowling center in all the years I've bowled here. So that's what we watch for today.
That's the type of shots he was doing last night when he jumped from 7th to 4th with a big 247 against Bill Peters. More of this first game following this message.
We've got what it takes.
At True Value Hardware stores, we have a lot of different customers. Professionals and do-it-yourselfers of all different ages. But they all have one thing in common. They all know about the great service they get at True Value. We take the time to treat people right, and that's what keeps all those different customers coming back.
Thanks, Don.
Time and time again.
We've got what it takes, True Value.
It's the Spring Savings Spectacular at Renault and Jeep dealers. Save up to $1,483 with 9.9 financing on new Jeep vehicles, 9.9 on Jeep Comanche, on one-of-a-kind Jeep Cherokee, on Jeep Wagoneer, on AMC Eagle, And for the first time ever on Jeep Grand Wagoneer, save with low financing and special value packages. Don't miss this limited time offer. See your AMC Jeep and Renault dealer today.
The Eskimos have more than 40 ways to say cold.
Alapa, Halivik, Belidiochok, Heliapa, Hikisiruk.
But only one to say cooler.
Seagrams one cooler, Mick.
Even in the land of ice and snow, the word for a refreshing wine cooler is Seagram's.
Uva nga uva, Siguya Mick, Bishu ye ya.
8-time PBA winner Pete Weber of Florissant, Missouri, opened with the double, spare in the third, using the full approach and then some. Now in the fourth frame, leading by 11.
Pete Weber, with that slight stature, needs to generate as much power through his legs and his whole body as he can, so he uses 17 feet.
High hit, leaving the 3-6. Let's replay and get a better idea of his form from behind.
Standing all the way to the end of the approach, much like Marshall Holman, all the slightly built players, they use that full approach. They get the high backswing, and Peter's quickly up with another ball to cover this 3-6 spare he left on that shot.
As we mentioned earlier, the 6th year that the PBA National Championship and Toledo Trust have hosted this event. It's the 18th year that we've been coming here. As you look at the prize money, there are the facts and figures. 45, 25, 15, 10, and 8.
Lots of bucks, but still the figure that as a touring pro, and I'm sure the middle of the pack players, Weber, Roth, and Alby, are looking at, is that 7-year exemption to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. In essence, Chris, you could put another $14,000 value on that, because last in the Firestone's $2,000 every year.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
And as he said, that's it. Now, Mike Edwards has to start stringing them.
The hand action of Pete Weber. He twists that wrist at the top of the backswing, then gets it down underneath it, lets that wrist roll around the ball, lifts straight up the back. Tremendous power. Now Mike Edwards up in the 5th with a strike here could take the lead. Not to be. The 3-pound, 8-ounce pins, brand new, Chris. What happens is, watch the action of the head pin. Now watch as the ball comes in light. The head pin goes to the sideboard, almost goes out of your shot. Now watch it come back across the lane and take a whack at the 10 pin. There it goes. That would have given Mike Edwards the lead. But now he has another single pin spare. He's converted 3 so far.
And he stays perfect. Continuing to mark, hanging in there, consistency. Often the name of the game.
Mike, an excellent clutch bowler. He came up in the 10th frame last night, 56 game, needed 2 strikes to pass Frank Ellenberg to go into the top 5 and give himself a chance at that $45,000. Just buried all 3, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Now he trails by just 9 pins, 6th frame.
He was second last year in the Quaker State Open. Best here was 16th 2 years ago. And as Bo said, those are the type strikes that he was making last night. Today's another day.
Mike Edwards looks very sharp. A little light in the pocket 4 times, solid in the 4th and 6th frames. Although Weber has the lead, he is the only player so far to carry an off hit. That was in the 2nd frame. He carried the light wall shot, and that's been the difference so far in the match. Strike working, a double here in the 6th. He'd lead by 19.
And now Pete, too, will know what it's like. Shoot that single pin spare.
Pete's doing something we haven't seen him do before, and that's switch to a harder, shinier ball for spares. And I think the reason being he's using a hooking type ball for his first shot, and he needs to control that spare shot.
The mental side is so important in this game, and we asked Pete earlier, he has a different attitude when he plays a super player or a newer one.
Oh, when I play against a super player like Mike Aulby or Mark Roth, my attitude changes a little bit. I get a little more vicious on the lanes. I smack my hands a little more, grip my teeth a little more, as to where when I bowl a rookie out here, it's a little more mellow. I don't grip my teeth or smack my hands as much.
Mr. Intensity. Don't let him kid you. He is a competitor. Look at those eyes.
Terrible. Terrible.
Once again,
self-analysis is always good.
he's got that mic on him, the what we call lavalier mic or unmanned. Needs no wire. It's an RF mic, and the 360 left in the 4th frame he covered perfectly. Once again, the 7th frame, he needs this to maintain his lead.
Stuck at the line and nearly went across it. Pete Weber with a 7-pin lead here in our first match. More of it following this.
The more things cost, the better they are. That's not always true. Consider Barbasol. Barbasol has as thick and rich a lather as any other leading foam, but Barbasol can cost half as much as the higher-priced foams. Consider also Barbasol Glide Stick Deodorant. It has a fresh, clean scent like any deodorant should, but Barbasol can cost as much as $1 less than the high-priced sticks. Barbasol Shave Cream and Barbasol Glide Stick. Great toiletries for a lot less money.
Looking for a loan? Tried talking to a financial institution? Big, impersonal. Looks like you need a friend. At Beneficial, we're big.
Hi, I'm Fred.
But very personal. You'll talk to the boss when you talk to Beneficial, so there's no committee, no waiting. Everything could be wrapped up in 24 hours.
Congratulations.
Thanks, big guy.
Thank you.
Beneficial. Talk to the manager, and you're talking to the boss.
It was his toughest title defense to date. Marvelous Marvin Hagler's ring war with John the Beast Mugabe for the middleweight championship of the world. Plus some of the most dramatic coverage ever at the World Ski Flying Championship. All on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
Two-part ABC's Wide World of Sports. The intensity of a Marvin Hagler, undisputed middleweight champion in Mugabe, gave him fits in his 12th title defense. And Bo, ski flying.
Flying
that
it
takes
is.
Courage.
Over 600 feet in the air, and they start from 120 meters, so quite a move through the air without an engine. And here's a guy who has to get his motor running. He can take the lead for the first time in a match if he can strike in the 7th frame. Mike Edwards trails by 7, needs this one for the lead.
And what looked like a light hit. The lead is Mike's.
The perseverance of Mike Edwards. He goes to the sideboard with the head pin and comes back, and this time with the good lift takes out the 4, 5, and 7 pins. He has the lead, and he likes this shot. The first good break he's had so far in the match. This could be a key shot for Edwards. He's been right around the pocket on the left-hand lane every time, and it can extend his lead to 13 with a turkey.
He does, his 24-year-old non-winner from Tulsa. There's his reaction.
By far the best shot Mike Edwards has thrown today. Takes a 13-pin lead. Let's see how Weber, the veteran at a very young age of 23, reacts, 24 now, reacts to that.
Terrible.
Again, a single word tells the story. Not to Pete's liking, leaving at 3-6, a young man that won 3 times last year, second in money earned, over $164,000 behind Mike Aulby, who will be up next. He will meet the winner of this match. So smooth. So now we're getting down to those final 2 frames. 9th frame coming up for Weber. Spare working.
Pete even lucky to be in the match. He was high in the 3rd frame, high in the 4th. Once again in the 7th and 8th frames, he's left the 3-6 spare, avoiding the split on all 4 occasions. Still has a chance to win the match. If he strikes out, he'd have a 223. Edwards going at a 218 pace.
Hey, all right. You threw a good ball.
Strange game. Open with a double, then spares, and finally the strike.
In the most important frame, the 9th frame, he will still have a chance to win the match if Edwards does not throw a double in either the 9th or 10th frames. For Edwards, he controls his own destiny. He can shut out Weber with a strike here and a mark in the 10th.
He's on the right lane of this championship pair. Now he needs a mark. Has his share of rooters here in this capacity crowd.
The first time he got in the swish zone, you see the ball of Edwards. It tomahawks the 10, he scalps the 5. He's got himself in position where he can shut out Pete Weber. And he's got to like that, Chris.
Mike and his family very proud of their Native American heritage, Cherokee and Choctaw. Crossed a big hurdle and champion Pete Weber, a great champion. Next, he will face the bowler of the year, left-hander Mike Aulby. Don't go away.
The Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, coming to you from Toledo, Ohio. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. By the Napa Advantage Muffler. It puts rust at a disadvantage. And by True Value Hardware Stores. We've got what it takes. We'll return with more bowling after these commercial messages and a word from your local station.
You don't give your word, then go back on the deal. You don't shake a man's hand unless that's how you feel. The best way to show you mean what you say is man to man, the American way. Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
You won't believe what's happening inside your muffler. Rust that starts on the inside is eating its way through. The Napa Advantage muffler with Absorbite helps prevent internal rust. The inside of this muffler was not protected with Absorbite. This muffler was. You can see the difference. The Napa Advantage is even covered by a lifetime warranty. Of course, you may never have to use it. The Napa Advantage. It puts rust at a disadvantage. Available at thousands of Napa outlets.
Imelda's Millions, where they came from and where they went, Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
Blanket protection for your auto, life, home, and business from Nationwide Insurance.
Nationwide is on your side.
The ballots are in on the 3rd annual Channel 27 Player of the Year Awards for high school basketball. Find out who will be this year's winners in girls and boys basketball. Greg Mason and John Reppes present the awards beginning Monday at 6 and 11 on Channel 27 News.
This is the amazing Suzuki Quad Sport. It has more headroom than fine American luxury cars. It is faster on rugged terrain than most exotic Italian sports cars. It displays better handling under treacherous conditions than the high-performance sedans of Germany. Only Suzuki gives you the choice of 8 different quad runners, the most extensive line of 4-wheel ATVs off the road today. Suzuki Quad Runners, the foremost in 4-wheeling.
This is WHTM-TV, serving Harrisburg, Lancaster, York, and Lebanon.
Here at the Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio, the PBA National Championship, an upset in the first match. With 7 strikes in a row to end, Mike Edwards of Tulsa shoots a 248 to Pete Weber's 212. Now, another handful in the bowler of the year, the defending champion Mike Aulby, who bowls from the left side. That is Edwards' next opponent, to be followed by Roth and then Tom Kreitz. Time now to ask Bo.
And
well,
Chris,
here's a question. What is the role of the Professional Bowlers Association regions?
And in essence, the PBA has 2 types of tours. It's the regional tour and the national tour. And basically, the regions operate satellite tournaments in 7 separate regions around the country. And they also provide eligibility for the national tour. You must cash in at least 2 of these regional tournaments before you can even send in an entry card to get on the Rabbit Squad on the PBA National Tour. And finally, they provide eligibility for the Firestone Tournament of Champions by holding 1 tournament a year, the resident or regional pro championship. The winner gets a spot in the Firestone for 1 year.
So if you'd like answer to your question, send that question to Ask Bo. Post Office Box 1986, Radio City Station, New York, New York 10101. All right, here we go with the second game. There is Mike Aulby, who finished 3rd overall in this championship pair. 2 games throughout the week. He averaged 190, and in match play, he was defeated by Mike Edwards. But this is the defending champion. Set a record last year of over $201,000. Good mixing action.
Alby, with that great striking ball, has bowled so well in this particular tournament. This is his 3rd chance to win the PBA National Championship. He really has his hands full with Mike Edwards. Almost a perfect game Edwards bowled the first match. All 12 balls in the pocket, finished with 7 in a row, 248. If he can maintain that pace, he's going to be very tough to beat.
Wonderful break. Man with 8 strikes in his 248 game gets this one. Watch.
Watch the action of the 5-pin. The ball drives through the 1-3. The 5-pin drives over into this 4-7 area, bounces off the sidewall, takes out the 7. Edwards now has 8 strikes in a row, has started where he left off in match 1, started red hot here in match 2.
High hit in reality sets in, the 4, 6, 7, 10.
The mistake for Mike Edwards was that time just a little bit too careful. You have to keep the speed up, and what he has to do is just throw the ball over here in this 4-7 area and try to bounce one of the pins over to the 6-10.
So it's a disaster early. Open frame.
You're right, Chris. A mistake that may show up. Remember, he had a strike up, and he should have gotten just 2 pins, and so he would have 26 in the 2nd frame. Instead, he only got 1 pin. Foolish to throw away that pin in an attempt to make a near impossible split. Let's see if those 2 pins show up somewhere down the line in the match.
2-time PBA National Champion, Alby. And we have a 3, 5, and 9 for the lefty from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Mike Aulby with that pronounced push away early in the start. A nice, smooth approach, not a very high backswing. He's just a stroking type of player. Drops that left shoulder slightly. Good follow through. Keeps the ball wide, but has left himself a pretty difficult spare here. The 3, 5, 9. Got to guard against the chop and still carry out the 9.
And exactly what you said, Bo.
Coming across lane, and the lane's breaking quite a bit, especially this right-hand lane for the left-hand player. Watch the ball impact the 3-pin, take out the 9, but just misses the 5-pin, and this match is almost even after 2 frames. Both players having openings. Alby leads by 4, and when we come out of the next commercial, Chris, we're going to have a word with his wife, get the woman's side of professional bowling. Tammy Alby, reflecting on her husband's career.
28-24. Start anew. Exactly what these great pros do. Opens first bother them, but they come right back. Their stylish form, pinpoint accuracy, watch.
Alby driving out the 4 and the 7. Alby used to use a 15-pound ball, but he found he couldn't carry the 7-pin consistently with that weight of ball, and has switched to the 16-pound ball, and naturally his record last year of $200,000 shows the improvement.
Gets them nonetheless. Thought it was going to slide by. And like Alby, bounces back after an open with a strike.
Mike Edwards, the farm, watch the release and the hand action as he drives down through that pivot step, keeps his hand directly behind the bowling ball, lets the wrist and fingers lift through the shot, and gets the good pin action. Where Mike would have any trouble at all is when he gets too excited, he tries to turn it too much and goes over the top of the ball, but he's been almost perfect so far after a game in 3 frames.
Motioning for the 7 to go as well as the 4, but it didn't.
We talked about brand new pins, and what I mean by new pins is they were installed as the start of the tournament. They have approximately 250 games on them, and pins will not start bouncing around and carrying the off hit until they get about 1,000 games on them. So once again, you can see the premium on the solid hit, and if you have the power, you can carry the light one.
So Mike Edwards and Mike Aulby in our second match. Edwards eliminating Pete Weber, who earned $8,000 in his loss. We'll be back.
I have 3 grown children, one of them married, and I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Brave adults continue to challenge the notion that Frosted Flakes is just a kid cereal.
Both my parents eat them. What if the kids at school found out?
Because you love them as a kid doesn't mean you can't love them as an adult.
With Dr. Coleman's help, we all can now admit we eat them, can't we?
With that extra crunch in milk, that frosting just right, that tastes as good as ever.
Frosted Flakes good? They're great! So dig in. They've got the taste adults have grown to love.
Tractors, engines, big computers, airplane parts, and motor scooters called Emery. And it's as good as that. If your shipment's big, Emery's gonna help you make it. 'Cause we've got a rig that's sure to take it from the biggest to the smallest. It's as good as theirs, just call us. It's as good as theirs.
The action keeps rolling on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Next stop, Baltimore, as high rollers take aim at a $130,000 jackpot. Next Saturday on ABC Sports.
With me is Tammy Alby, and quite a beautiful day out here, but inside the bowling lanes, Tammy, Mike had a great year last year, $200,000. He's off to a bit of a slow start this year. What's been the difference?
Well, I think the fall was very pressure-filled. It never ended. The Bowler of the Year race was pretty much closed up at the end of the fall, but then the $200,000 was still there, so it was pressure-filled all the way to the end.
Mike's a confidence bowler, I know that, Tammy, and he's really has his confidence going this week.
Yeah, he does. We took the last 3 weeks off, and he got to rest up a little bit. He never really recovered from last year. So that 3 weeks made a big difference. He's come back real well.
All right, Chris, he looks sharp out there. He's got the lead. He's up there, has a chance to extend it. Ready to go.
And as Mike will say, a lot of the credit for his coming back in high form is Tammy, the little Californian lady that married this Hoosier. Leads by 4. He has a strike up. Can go up by 14. 4th frame, Mike Aulby. So, 14-pin lead. Of course, he can increase that with his next shot. He is facing Mike Edwards, who shot a .248, as you see a replay of that strike from the left side. Edwards, his opponent, with a .248 to Pete Weber's .212. Mark Roth will meet the winner of this game. And then the tournament leader, Tom Kreitz of Tampa, Florida. Capacity crowd, and it's been standing room only all week here. Toledo truly a hot spot in bowling. Lots of participants, lots of fans. Jumping out now to a 24-pin lead over Mike Edwards.
As Alby sits down, you see the reaction and the pin action of Mike's turkey. 3 in a row coming from an open in the second frame. He strung together 3 in a row. leads Mike Edwards by 24. He likes it. Edwards back to the wall, 5th frame, has to get a string going.
As his start now in the second match.
Powerfully built Mike Edwards had a promising football career, injured a knee and dropped out of that. Once time was on a tremendous weightlifting program where he was bench pressing, he tells me, up to 340 pounds, and had to lose some of that bulk to get his arm swing down smooth. He looks great shape right now, but he needs some strikes to push Alby.
All but the 10 on the left lane of this championship pair.
Twixt in between for Mike Edwards. He throws the ball a little too slowly. It goes high. Throws it up just a little bit too hard and does not get the pin action with 3-pound, 8-ounce pins. Not to be. And he really needed that one. 6-frame conversion here of the 10-pin for Edwards. He would trail by 24.
Up quickly is Mike Aulby.
Alby averaged 238 in this championship pair en route to winning the national championship last year. He had a 223 against Bob Hanley's 222 last year and defeated his brother-in-law 253 to 211 last year for the championship. Leads by 24 here, 6th frame.
Can you believe the 5-pin?
Once again, the story's in the trajectory of the ball towards the pocket, the 1-2 pocket for Alby, and the weight of the pins. He starts that ball around the 3rd arrow. The ball comes in light. The head pin goes to the sideboard and does not take out either the 5 or 10 pins. And what he has to do is keep the ball over here to the left of the 5-pin, slide it over into the 10 to convert the square.
He was the PBA Rookie of the Year, winning this championship then, and he did it again last year.
Just perfect. Nips that 5-pin on the left side, knocks it right into the 10.
From this Ohio city, next week we move to Maryland, to Baltimore, for the Fair Lanes Open. There you see it, $130,000 tournament, followed by the Long Island Open in Garden City. Then to Windsor Locks, Connecticut, followed by our final stop in this 25th year, the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
The telescore that all the fans here at the capacity crowd of Imperial Lanes, Daryl Dukett's beautiful establishment in Toledo, this is the overhead that they see. Here's the shot of Alby, 7th frame.
10-pin on that left lane.
A shot almost identical to the one he had there in the 6th frame, where the head pin went to the sideboard and didn't take out either the 5 or the 10 pin. That time the head pin did the job on the 5-6, has left him a very simple spare to maintain a 21-pin lead.
We're in Toledo, site also of the 1986 PGA Golf Championship, which ABC will televise in August at the time-honored Inverness Country Club. So here in the PBA National Bowling Championship, the defending champion leads by 21. Getting late now in this second game, his opponent, Mike Edwards.
The measure of a champion. It's not just a matter of inches, but a matter of degree. It's the determination to give that extra margin of performance that results in being the best. We know. We're the Champion Spark Plug Company, and we prove that Champion Copper Plus is America's best. It delivers that extra margin of performance that's the hallmark of a true champion. Copper Plus, America's best spark plug.
You give your body the best.
Come on, body, you can do it. Sure you can.
From the best workout to the best deodorant soap.
Safeguard. Give your body the best. Hey, this body deserves it all. Both the most rich, thick deodorant soap lather I can get, bubbling over with the most deodorant soap protection I can get. Clean scent. Give this body anything less than the best. Are you talking to me?
Give your body the best. Give it Safeguard.
The lightweight division is truly one of the most exciting in boxing. Cornelius Boza Edwards is truly one of its showcase talents. With 33 knockouts under his belt, this former title holder takes on Terrence Ali live on ABC Sports Pro Boxing Series tomorrow.
That fight tomorrow. In this battle today in Toledo, Ohio, Mike Aulby, when we left, was leading by 24, now 11 as a result of a double by Edwards. And a solid 9 for Aulby. And the crowd ohs and ahs.
In almost disbelief, Alby leaves a solid 9. Watch the ball as it drives through the 1-2 pocket and then chops the 5 directly off of the 9, straight back. And it's one of the few times today that we have seen a solid pocket hit not rewarded with a strike.
Disappointment to Mike. While we were away, Edwards had a strike in the 7th and 8th. The reason we didn't show it, we're running behind our allotted time schedule. So Mike Aulby with the spare. And this is his first game of the afternoon. And finishing in the huge professional field here in the National Championship. From the 3rd spot now, needs to win to advance against Mark Roth and Tom Kreitz. Same is true of Edwards, of course.
Alby, who has been so good all week, and here are some of his victories. His 6 victories last week. AC Delco on the Winter Tour, PBA National, the Old Spice tournament. Then in the summer he won at Denver, the PBA doubles with his brother-in-law Steve Cook, and he won the Brunswick Memorial Tournament to close out the year better than $200,000 and consensus Bowler of the Year title. As I was saying, as Alby has been so good in the clutch all week long, he leads by 10 right now. Let's see what he can do. 9th frame.
Mike, the rabid sports fan, will remind you that he was the bowling champion of the year. Larry Bird was the pro basketball champion, and Don Mattingly, the MVP of the American League. All Hoosiers. Beautiful strike. Oh. And while I'm bragging about my home state of Indiana, he was the 3rd bowler of the year, Don McCune and Don Johnson.
I think for me to make a comeback, I better move up to Tippecanoe and get some lessons, Chris.
Well, you're always welcome. You and Mike Durbin. And then I'll have a doubles championship pair.
Here comes Edwards. Let's see what he does. He can tie the match with this strike.
Remember, this is a man that has not won a national professional title. He ousted Pete Weber, 248 to 212, now going against another great in Mike Aulby. And another great follows in Mark Roth. What a field.
And the key frame for Edwards, a lane that he only has 1 strike on. That was the 8th frame. Remember, he had the split on this lane in the 2nd frame. He was light in the 4th. He was light again in the 6th. Struck in the 8th. Now he needs the strike to take the lead. 10th frame.
Didn't get it. 7.
Left the 7 pin, and remember when we said in the 2nd frame where he got 7 pins instead of 8 pins on the strike? He now trails by 1 pin. If he had gotten that extra pin in the 2nd frame, he would lead by 1. Such a subtle difference, but we'll pick it out in a championship match. Needs to convert this spare, throw a strike. He'll have 2:03. Alby going at a 2:04 pace.
All right. There's no way you can recover in this game.
Well, it was just
an error, and look out.
Mental error, Chris. But Edwards has really, really bowled very well. He came back in the 7th, 8th, and 9th frames this match and threw a really good shot there in the 10th. Didn't get the break on the 7 pin. Still has a possibility of winning the match or even having a tie game with Alby.
And another 10 pin. So, Applause of the crowd. A score of 202, and now it's up to Alby.
A well-deserved applause for Mike Edwards, but he hasn't been beaten yet. Alby must get 19 pins somehow in the 10th frame. That would be either a strike right here on this ball or a spare and 9 or better to win the match. Spare and 8, we'd have a tie. Spare and 7, Edwards would win. A situation we had one other time at the King Louis Open where the machine touched the pin and has to be reset. And the rule on this is very simple, Chris. Once the ball hits the kickback or falls off the back plate, watch this action. Now, count 3 seconds from the time you see this ball disappear. The ball disappears. Now, 1001, 1002, 1003. It has to be at least that amount of time before the machine can touch the pin. The pin has been reset. Alby must make this spare and get 9 to win.
Just it. Very, very tight. Second match.
All right for Alby. 9 or strike, win. 8 tie, 7 lose. The winner of this match will go on to meet the greatest right-hander in the history of professional bowling, Mark Roth.
And it is time to pause and reflect for both the Albys. This 26-year-old now. Oh, it's a tie. Can you believe it? A tie game, a 2-frame roll-off bow.
2-frame roll-off as defending champion Mike Aulby leaves the 4-8 on his fill ball. It will be Mike Edwards up first, and what happens right here is Edwards will bowl 1 frame, similar to the 9th frame of a regulation game. Then Aulby will go up and bowl the 9th and 10th frames. Here you see the pin action. Remember, 7 was a loser, 8 is a tie, 9's a winner. It's almost 7, almost 7. Head pin, do some work. Takes out the final pin to fall. We have a tie match. Edwards is up as the crowd silences. We're starting all over 2 frames.
What pressure on a non-winner, Mike Edwards. And that's the lane that's caused him trouble. 5-7.
The lane, you're right, Chris, that has caused him all the trouble. He only got 1 strike in this match against Alby on that left-hand lane. He hits right in the pocket and leaves the 5-7. He must slide this over, similar to the 5-10 that Alby converted. Slide the 5 over into the 7.
It's a safety valve. Pressure off now. Look at that young man from Tulsa. Look at this shot.
Perfect. Gets that ball just light. Slides that 5 over into the back of the 7. Just nips it. Avoids the open frame and keeps the pressure on Alby, who is up for his first shot. Edwards likes it. Let's see how Alby reacts. 9th frame.
Crossing over and leaving the 5-8.
Alby just having all sorts of trouble with the right lane. Edwards all sorts of trouble with the left lane. They'll both be up on their favorite lane in the final frame of this roll-off to determine the winner. Once again, the 5-8 seems like a simple spare, but with the big hook of Alby, you have to guard against the chop of the 5 off of the 8.
Good shot by the defending champion, Mike Aulby.
Looks like just 1 pin, but after the ball touches the 5, it deflects into the 8, converts the spare, and as Aulby comes up in his final shot in this 2-frame roll-off, You can see it's all even. 57 games for these two players, and it's still down to just one frame to determine who will go on to meet Roth in the semifinal.
202 tie. Big shot. Could have gave it an Arnold Palmer hitching of the belt line. Mild, even-tempered guy, but he could drill him.
Good shot is right. He threw his best shot of the match so far. Very confidently stepped up there in the second frame of the roll-off and has put the pressure on Edwards as Tammy Alby looks on. No matter what Alby does, he cannot shut out Edwards. The best Alby can do if he strikes here in the 11th and 12th frames of this two-framer, actually, would be 50.
Digging down. Getting that double.
For Alby, one more strike would give him a total score in the roll-off of 50. It would force that young man, Mike Edwards, who is playing with a rosin bag, concentrating on what he must do, a chance to tie. If Alby doesn't strike, Edwards can get up and win.
Mike's on the left lane. All right. We have a six-pin standing. We have a score of 49. And Mike Edwards controls his own destiny now in this two-frame roll-off.
Edwards must strike on this ball, the next ball, and the final ball to win. He needs 2 strikes, 9 for another tie. Anything less, Alby would be the winner. Disappointed.
He thought he had them all. A gallant try by Mike Edwards of Tulsa, Oklahoma. But in a two-frame roll-off, his opponent is shot of 49. We'll have Mike's final score. In today's bowling tip, Bo will begin a 5-part series on how to practice. Today, Bo will tell us how to warm up. Watch and listen.
The Professional Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week is brought to you by Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's cooked the Colonel's special way. Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Today we begin a 5-part series on how to practice. Golfers have a practice scheme. They go out, they hit drivers, they practice sand wedges, they practice putting. But bowlers really don't have a practice scheme. This series will show you how to maximize your practice time and your practice dollars. First place, I recommend that everybody bowl at least 1 league a week. That's fine. But how many games should I practice? I think that everybody can improve with just 5 games if they maximize that practice time. Now, today's first lesson will be on warming up. First, you have to warm up the body. I recommend loosening up the legs, stretching the hamstrings by just touching your toes or at least touching down to the floor. The second is to loosen up the upper body. Turn it about 90 degrees each direction. That'll loosen up the waist area. Now you're ready to go. Now, what should you do? Go up there and fire the first ball? No. You see a baseball pitcher when he comes into a game, he doesn't just walk out of the dugout onto the mound. He goes down to the bullpen, warms up for 5 or 10 minutes. Professional bowlers on the tour, we get 10 warm-up shots. And what we do with those shots is very simply this. We try to establish our rhythm, our timing, set up the whole day in the first game. Watch how I take my first warm-up shot. Nice and easy, nice and loose, establish that rhythm. That's lesson number 1. There you go. Remember the first lesson. Nice and easy. Loosen up that body. Don't fire that first shot down the lane.
At some places, getting tender chicken isn't always easy. And what you may wind up with is one tough bird. At Kentucky Fried Chicken, we start with plump, tender chicken. Then we cook it the Colonel's special way, so it's tender and delicious, bite after bite after bite. So for great tasting chicken you can sink your teeth into, come to the chicken experts. Because when it comes to tender chicken, ours is a real knockout.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
To the left of Alby's name, an asterisk, meaning that he won the two-frame roll-off by a score of 49-39. Tough break for Mike Edwards. Impressive in the first game as he was in the second. And it's Alby, the defending champion, now goes against Mark Roth, who has never won a PBA national title. There's Mark, maroon shirt, seated, while Alby in that two-frame roll-off. He is in the semifinal. Small smile on Mike's face. Great way to start the first match, especially when you're bowling this 32-time champion. U.S. Open champion. He's yet to win this one. He's yet to win the Firestone. But he is something. Like that. Takes so little time. Cranks it up, and let's look at the profile.
The greatest natural ability I've seen in my 25 years of professional bowling. There he is, Mark Roth, six-step delivery, nice extension. Watch how that hand stays underneath the ball. And the thing that's kept him so great is he doesn't try to hook the ball. He lets the wrist do the work. Nice, relaxed arm swing. He's off to an early strike.
Well, he gets his double, third appearance on TV this year, and he finished second twice. He went for a string of 9 years, at least winning one title with shots like this.
The first player to overpower the pins so far today. Mark hits slightly light in the pocket, has enough power and lift on the ball to pop that 6 up, take out the 10, and it's something he's used to. All in every day's work.
Loose and confident. So is Mike Aulby.
You're right, Chris. Two of the most confident players that bowl on confidence that I've ever seen on the Pro Tour going heads up, semifinal match.
Solid 9 again.
Once again, Alby is victimized by the near, or apparently a perfect hit. Leaves the 9-pin, just nothing you can do about it. 16-pound ball drives straight through. Watch the action of the 3-pin as it drives back in, bounces into the head pin, but the 5-pin does not take out the 9.
Mike Aulby, two-time PBA National Champion in his rookie year in '79 and again last year. And there he, as you see, Players of the Year, Mark Roth 4 times. You see Wayne Webb in '80 and then Alby last year. Broke the money record of over $201,000. Earl Anthony had earned $164,000, but Mike broke that record a year ago.
Get in there, Mike.
Will make him feel better.
Couldn't carry the solid hit, but he gets a break as the 3-pin goes to the sideboard and trips out the 6-10. And that's the scoring system of bowling. If you go strike, strike, spare, you have 49 in the second. But since he went strike, spare, strike, he only has 40. Roth, a 10-pin lead.
Mark Roth, perfect through 3 frames in this national championship.
Mark Roth, to see the power of his bowling ball. Very little deflection as the ball enters the pocket and just steamrollers over all 10 pins into the pit. He has a 20-pin lead, perfect through 3.
Mark's record, a second, a third, a fourth, and 5th twice in the national championship. Ten on the left lane.
Well, Roth didn't get away with a solid hit. Alby paid a penalty in the second frame. Roth quickly to the rosin bag. The finest spare shooter in the game of bowling. Watch his technique. Doesn't change balls, changes his hand position. He keeps that wrist flat underneath the ball instead of curling it underneath the ball and lets the ball go very simply and straight towards the pin.
Man man with the most experience in this field of 5, 16 years of professional and 32 titles, takes the lead by 19 against Mike Aulby. We'll be back.
Excuse me. Yes. How much is it going to cost?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
Look, is my car ready yet?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. Is this warranty good into Duke?
Every day, more and more Americans are becoming less satisfied with their car care. That's why Firestone developed MasterCare. With prices posted at the counter, MasterCare services that are warranted coast to coast and your car ready when promised. Because at Firestone, we're not satisfied until you're satisfied.
America's driving to Firestone.
When I'm out on the road with a load of meat on, bad weather, bad cold, my load's still got to go. So I rely on Alka-Seltzer Plus. It relieves my aches and pains, the stuffiness in my head, watering on my eyes, the running on my nose, and just everything. So I take Alka-Seltzer Plus before I sack out. And in the morning, I feel like gangbusters, and I'm back on the road again.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter cold.
While we were away, Mike Aulby left a 6-pin, covered it, marked with a spare in the 4th against Mark Roth. The reason we bowled through was because we're running behind our 90-minute time limit. The result of a 2-frame roll-off earlier. And so, as he did on the right lane, left a 6 on the left.
Well, Roth is just helping the TV audience out. If they didn't see that shot naturally that we were in a commercial, he does it again in the 5th frame. Identical hit. Goes just a little bit high into the 1-2 pocket. The 3-pin goes to the sideboard, doesn't get any of the 6-pin, and he leaves himself a simple spare. A conversion here. He'll trail the great Mark Roth by 20.
Who just joined us, Mike Edwards, won the first match over Pete Weber, 248 to 212. Edwards and Alby, 202 tie. In the roll-off, 49-39 Alby. This is Mark Roth's first game today, the semifinal. High hit, leaving the 4-7-10. It looked like a hurried shot.
Very much so, Chris. He did hurry the shot, and I think as you see the ball cut right through the middle, lead the 6-7-10, it's because of the heat. Mark has a sore hand, and it's very warm down there, a little perspiration on his hand. He tried to hurry the shot and has left himself a difficult split.
Pussyfoot around with that shot at all. But it is an open frame coming in the 5th.
Almost converts it. Watch the actions. The 6-pin as it heads over towards the 7. Whoops, he missed it again even on the replay. Half-inch behind the 7-pin. Roth now only leads by 6 pins after 5 frames.
Concentrating again for that strike on the left.
Want to see the greatest release in bowling? Watch this. He keeps his hand behind the ball. Watch the fingers directly behind the ball. The snap of the wrist with a slight lift out over the foul line, approximately 18 inches, which is real good. And you can hear the pins resounding to that strike.
Spare up.
That's it. That's 10. Right there.
Mike Aulby called that one. From that catbird seat. It's the best seat in the house at the foul line, isn't it, Nelson? You can tell where it's going.
Well, as in any sport, a great player knows when he's throwing a perfect shot, or at least what he feels is a perfect shot. Aulby released that ball off his hand. He knew what the destiny of the pins were going to be on that shot. Solid in the pocket, only trails by 6. He can retake the lead with a double.
Outside of Baltimore, we'll see the finals of the Fair Lanes Open on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Live coverage next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Alby to take the lead.
Oh, he comes from behind and won the roll-off a little earlier. What a match, the semifinal for the right to go into the championship game. We'll be back.
The world is divided in half. Some can go to the net, some can't. There are good backhands, bad ones. And most important, the Bic. Some guys have normal skin while others have more sensitive skin. So Bic makes the Bic orange. it shaves sensitive skin gently and closely. So for normal skin like mine, the original Bic White Shaver. And for sensitive skin, the Bic Orange. Well, by the way, some people love John McEnroe, and some people,
I had to try this to believe it. Denerex tingles. Tells me it's doing more. Selsun Blue, no tingle.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denerex adds an extra anti-itch medicine many dermatologists recommend.
So long, Selsun Blue. Hello, Denerex.
This cold wouldn't feel so bad if I could just breathe.
Try Dristan nasal spray with oxymetazoline, the #1 nasal decongestant among doctors. For 12-hour relief, try Dristan long-lasting nasal spray.
While we were away, leaving a 10-pin on the right lane, Mark Roth covered it for his spare, as you see. Now the 8th frame. Tight match. Strike in the 8th for Roth. Double up now for Alby, shooting in the 8th frame.
Alby, who got his encouragement to come out as a professional bowler from one of the only 2 Triple Crown winners to ever win the Firestone, the PBA National, and the U.S. Open. Billy Hardwick, the great Billy Hardwick, encouraged Mike to come on the tour after seeing Mike bowling in an exhibition match that Billy was participating in.
Like Billy, but from the opposite side, some beautiful strikes. Billy Hardwick gave us a lot of thrills, Bo.
You're right. Billy, a great bowler, and this is the kind of hit that he thrived upon. Solid in the pocket, all 10 in a pit, and everybody likes that, including Mike Aulby. He's put himself in a position of a 14-pin lead. The 9th frame on his best lane can extend to 24 over a man you never really have shut out, Mark Roth.
Winner of this game goes into the finals against tournament leader Tom Kreitz of Tampa, Florida. How did the bowler of the year like that? With a high jump leap is a big strike. 4th in a row.
He's got to like this one, a $10,000 difference in this match for the winner, even if he finishes second. Roth up there in the 9th frame now to try to cut into that lead.
Steve Weber lost the first game, earned $8,000. Mike Edwards lost to Alby in the second game, $10,000. And the stepladder approach in our format, and the stepladder of the Toledo Trust National Championship is really impressive.
Scoreboard tells the story. Roth with a strike here in the 10th and another one in the 11th could retake the lead, but he needs this one desperately.
Alby never watches an opponent.
I'll tell you, enjoy and watch one of the greatest performing under pressure. Roth, who has come so close this year to winning championships. He left the solid 9 at the Light Championship to lose to Janello. He left the solid 10 down at the Quaker State in Dallas to lose. Let's see what happens in the 11th here.
The mark of a professional.
Well, you just can't do it any better. Mark Roth, with another strike, will have 235 and has retaken the lead, put the pressure on Alby, where Alby must strike when he comes up in the 10th.
Nice shot, Mark Roth. Perceived round of applause, rightfully so. Alby trailing by 5 with a 4-bagger, a 234 for Mark Roth.
Alby, who threw 4 strikes in a row in the 32nd qualifying game here to even make it into the top 24, qualified 24th, crawled his way up into the top 5, now needs a strike to bowl for the title.
That's it. As we mentioned, Mark Roth over the years, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and 5th twice.
And I think Mike Aulby just put another 3rd on to Mark Roth. You're seeing 2 of the finest talents ever to step on a bowling lane. There he is, Mark Roth, going against the younger left-hander, Mike Aulby, who needs just 5 pins to secure 6 pins to win.
And oh so close. Leaving the 3-9 on the right lane. Mike Aulby carefully checking. Well, he will go into the finals, a chance to successfully defend his title. It'll be against Tom Kreitz.
They were asking for trouble when they asked me to test ride Monroe's gas Magnum shocks on my pickup. Truck's only a couple years old. It rides fine. I only break half a dozen eggs a day. I gotta tell you, with the gas Magnums, my truck rode a lot better. But I still broke an egg. See the crack right there? See?
Have you gotten used to a bad ride? Monroe will give you the best ride ever, guaranteed.
America rides Monroe.
Every bottle of Miller comes with a clear promise.
Miller's made the American way.
A promise that Miller beer has been brewed naturally.
Born and brewed in the USA.
And above all, a promise of purity. A promise that Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
Miller beer, purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Sunday, the 10 Commandments.
The price, the service, the satisfaction at Continental Toyota Lincoln Mercury. If fuel efficiency and luxury is what you demand from an automobile, come see the Toyota Camrys and Cressidas. And for value, the new Corollas can't be beat, delivering exceptional mileage with responsive handling and performance. It all starts at Continental Toyota Lincoln Mercury.
It all starts here.
Continental Toyota Lincoln Mercury, Route 422, Palmyra.
We were running a routine check for Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages, 10 a.m.
Hi, boys. Looking for me?
How's business, Doreen?
Couldn't be better.
Yeah.
Got 5 shops this busy now.
Because everybody knows you.
Right. Blondes, brunettes, redheads.
I say it all.
And the genuine Yellow Pages. From Bella, Pennsylvania.
Good ad. Special services, locations.
The work.
Goes to show you, Doreen.
Joe?
You stay with the Yellow Pages, you're set for life. The genuine Yellow Pages from Bella, Pennsylvania. We wrote the book.
Join John Rapids tonight on Channel 27 News.
Bowler of the Year, Mike Aulby, won by 2 pins with 7 strikes. Mark Roth, 4 times Bowler of the Year with 8 strikes, shot at .234. Aulby now against Kreitz. And in our booth, while they warm up, we have Mark Roth. Mark, tough break.
Well, Chris, I bowled real well, and so did Mike. I just made 1 bad shot, and it cost me the match.
Well, Mark, I just say that the difference between the right and the left, sometimes you can see the left-hander has a big angle on the pocket, but Aulby was playing the inside line, and he's the bowler of the year, a hot hand. It was probably the best matchup between 2 of the greatest bowlers that we have right out here on the tour, you and Aulby.
I think it was. I mean, he left solid 9, a couple of 6s, and I left a couple of 10s, so it was basically an even match except for my 1 bad shot.
Did the right hand bother you, Mark?
No, it was a little sore starting out this morning, and I worked it out by practicing a little longer today.
All right, Chris, we had a big field anyway. 360 players competed here. They paid 90 spots, $680 to the 90th spot. And some of the other players that finished in the top 24 were some of the very top stars in the sport of bowling. As you can see, they said 345 field there, but there was room for 360. Look at the score, is only a 190 average to cut into the whole field. 206 to make the top 24. Aulby got that spot. Now he has a chance to win the title. And here's some of the other players that finished up through there. Look for your favorite. As you see, George Haig, who is the chairman of the board of Toledo Trust, in the audience.
What a shot in the arm they have been with their financial and civic support as they do throughout this fast-growing and ever-changing area of Toledo. All right, Mike Aulby, who won by 2 pins over Mark Roth, goes against the tournament leader, non-winner, Tom Kreitz. First shot. now to be greeted with the 6-7-10 for the left-hander.
As we see the 6-7-10, Chris, and Mark Roth works away from the booth, he says, where was that one frame ago? As the situation for Alby is this here, he has to get the ball over by the 6-pin, slide it over to the 7-pin. It's a little bit tougher for a lefty because he's coming across lane from that side.
So it's an open frame for the defending champion. Only twice this year has a tournament leader won in 11 championships. This is the tournament leader from Tampa, Florida. 6-footer, 170 pounds, PBA Rookie of the Year in 1985.
Tommy Kreitz. Good athlete.
Here.
10-pin.
Tom with a conventional style, just very deliberate, 4-step delivery right out of the textbook, good push away, keeps that head and shoulders up, keeps that chin up high, good knee bend, good solid follow through, and you don't see him quite carry out the 10. And the reason that Tommy has been so successful this week, he's been able to hit the pocket from that inside line without throwing so hard, like say a Roth did, and it allows him to carry just a little better with the heavier pins.
Very smooth, marking it as fair. Man who crushed his championship pair 3 times with a 198 average. Tommy Kreitz. The leaders by rounds.
And these are 8-game blocks. Mark Baker, the early winner, he was the leader. He was the King Louis champion. And David Houston, former U.S. Open champion, led after round 4. 5, 6, and 7 were match game rounds, 56 games in all. Tom Kreitz is the tournament leader. Has led it for 56. He needs one more to get in the Firestone Tournament Champions, 7-year exemption of that tournament, and $45,000.
And is left with the 2-4-5-8 in this pressure match. Remember, talked about the pressure on non-winner Mike Edwards, who did well. Tom in only his 2nd television appearance.
Sends the ball wide, 2-4-5-8, as you said, Chris, a very difficult spare. We saw that double wood combination once today, and that's where Alby chopped the 3 and the 9 off the 5. It's very similar to what Tom Kreitz has here. That's the right-hander's bucket.
Tom was 4th in the Denver Open last summer. Highest finish. So he'll beat that today. There it is. 5-pin.
And almost unemotionally, Tom Kreitz chops the 2-4-8 off the 5 and has re-given the lead to Mike Aulby. And you cannot give a player of Alby's caliber that kind of break in the early going. A lot of money at stake. You have to be aggressive. I know this man will be.
Seven-pin for Alby. His opponent, Kreitz, who last year in the tournament here was 55th. Man of perseverance.
The pinfall we see once again taking the toll on apparently good hit. This is a question we often get and ask Bo, is how come I leave so many 7s or 10 pins? And I think that replay shows that the ball is just not quite solid enough in the pocket. All that you must do is put a little more lift on the ball or a little less speed. Alby to the 7-pin.
Mike Aulby, who defeated Mark Roth, who just joined us in the semifinal game by a score of 236 to 234. Roth with 15,000 here in this one-game head-to-head match. They're bowling for 70,000, 45 to the winner, 25 to the runner-up.
Aulby would be only the 2nd man in the last 4 years to successfully defend a title. Ted Hannes did it at the True Value in 1984 and 85 in Peoria, and Earl Anthony did it right here. Aulby sends that ball wide, bows the 5 over into the 10, and keeps a 4-pin lead after just 3 frames. He's been there before. This young man has never, ever bowled for a championship, much less 45,000.
So now he is shooting in the 3rd frame. following an open. Playing for 45, his career earnings only 55. Beautifully done. Controlled speed on the right lane.
Well, if he continues to throw the next 8 frames like that, he'll have a championship in his hand. He had perfect form on there and got an excellent result driving all 10 pins in the pit. Kreitz stayed down lower at the line, waited for the ball, and made a nice, smooth, controlled shot. Kreiz's only other appearance was at Denver, as you said before, and he was crushed by Alby on that championship round, 269 to 187. But he can take the lead here in the 4th.
Controlled preparation, now the shot. So the tournament leader, a non-winner against the defending champion and player of the year, has the lead by 4 pins. We'll be back.
When the big Q flows, America goes.
Still beautiful, Dad.
Took your brother through college, take you wherever you want to go.
On Quaker State.
Right. Smooth oil flow is what you want, protects the engine. See, Quaker State starts with Pennsylvania-grade crude, delivers stable viscosity.
You get great protection with the Big Q.
Hey, how come you know so much?
From listening to you.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
A bowler's greatest enemy, lane conditions. Difficult, changing, unpredictable. But there's a ball that handles it all. The AMF angle. Urethane control, urethane hitting power. Devastating on any lane condition. #1 winner on the Winter Pro Tour 3 years in a row. Don't be left in the past. Hundreds of thousands of bowlers have chosen the Black Angle to get better scores. The AMF Black Angle at bowling pro shops only. The Angle strikes again.
The action keeps rolling on the National Bowlers Tour. Next stop, Baltimore, as high rollers take aim at a $130,000 jackpot. Next Saturday on ABC Sports.
In this field of 5, a total of 52 titles, this man had won 12. Mike Aulby, only 8-year professional defending champion of this prestigious event. While we were away, he marked with a spare. And here in the 5th frame, powered another one, another strike.
An excellent shot by Alby there in the 5th. Keeps the pressure on Tommy Kreitz. But the story for Alby's been simply this. He has hit that left-hand lane so well. Can he start striking in the right-hand lane? He's going to give Kreitz all he can handle.
Tom Kreitz, 24 years old, has had to wait in the wings. It's a long wait, as he was the tournament leader. Alby spending a lot of emotion in that 2-pin victory over Mark Roth to get into the final. Not the 7.
A hit we've seen a number of times this telecast, where the 5 drives over into the 7, doesn't take it out, and here you see the form of Tommy Kreitz, that 4-step delivery, that deep inside line. Look where his left foot slides, almost in the left channel. Good lift, good loft. He liked the shot, not the result. Left the 7-pin conversion here, and he'd maintain a 5-pin lead.
And the native of Tampa, Florida, shooting in the 5th. And marks with his spare. A little problem sticking at the line. He checked it out. This is for $70,000 total in the 1-game PBA National Championship.
Kreitz, a product of the college bowling. He bowled for Hillsborough Junior College in, as you said, Chris, the Tampa area. Has some television experience, but that's on a team. This is individual, and once again, the $70,000 is a whole bunch of money.
Now bowling with a 2-year pre-engineering degree at Hillsborough.
Toppled on the left lane. The First emotion shown by Tommy Kreitz as he gets a good break in the pinfall. Head pin to the sideboard. There's the 4-5-7, but here comes the pin action. Head pin does its job. Kreitz has 94 through 5 frames. Now Alby can reclaim the lead with a strike. He has a strike up in the 5th. A double would give him a 5-pin lead.
Trying to win his consecutive championship. Earl Anthony won 3 in a row here. A 4.
The key lane for Alby. He's been all over the bowling lane on this right-hand lane. The first frame, he had a little trouble on the left lane, then he struggled, and then he struck on the left-hand lane, the 3rd and 5th, not close in the 6th. And you see 2 rookies of the year going at it. Alby in 79, Kreitz in 85.
And this man, not only the Rookie of the Year, but the Professional Bowler of the Year by Sporting News and Bowling Digest and everyone. Alby now will be shooting in the 7th frame of this title game.
Chris, we've seen it year after year. They put up $45,000, $50,000, and all of a sudden the action slows down and the pressure mounts and the scores sometimes plummet with it. But this is match game play for big bucks.
Got out of it, fortunately. 4-7 instead of a split.
Looks like a spent bowler out there. That tie match with Edwards had to take a toll on him. Then Mark Roth took him right to the very last frame where he had to throw a strike. And here through the first 7 frames, he's been a bit lethargic. I think what he needs to do is look at that prize fund and realize how much money the difference is between 1st and 2nd place. $20,000.
Well, he marked with his spare. Perhaps he'd better take a look at his wife, Tammy, his inspiration mentally. More of this match following this.
It's the Spring Savings Spectacular at Renault and Jeep dealers. Save up to $1,483 with 9.9 financing on new Jeep vehicles. 9.9 on Jeep Comanche, on one-of-a-kind Jeep Cherokee, on Jeep Wagoneer, on AMC Eagle, and for the first time ever on Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Save with low financing and special value packages. Don't miss this limited time offer. See your AMC Jeep and Renault dealer today.
To Peerless Faucet, durability means solid brass, resilient copper, and stainless steel construction. It also means if you install your Peerless washerless faucet today, it will not only still be working in the year 2001, it will still be under warranty. Peerless do-it-yourself faucets. Install in no time and last a long time.
When you set out to create the perfect home, start with the windows. The windows more people come home to than any other. Andersen windows. Far more energy efficient than ordinary windows. Engineered for a life of easy openings, easy closings. Finished with a beauty that will endure for generations. Andersen windows and patio doors are built to last, like the homes they're built into.
Come home to quality, come home to Andersen.
While we were away, Tom Kreitz, the tournament leader, left a 5-pin, covered it, marking with a spare. Continues to lead by only 7 pins against the defending champion Mike Aulby. Now in the left lane. 1 game, 1 title, 45,000. Three, 6, 10.
Very tentative Tom Kreitz. That 5-pin he left in the previous frame, the 7th frame, was a crossover 5-pin, almost a Brooklyn shot. He converted that easily and has now left himself a difficult spare, the 3, 6, 10. He needs to convert this to maintain a 4-pin lead over Alby with just 2 frames left.
Down, you're on count.
4 pins separating 12-time winner Mike Aulby and looking for his first title, Kreitz.
With the field averaging better than 223 today, no games under 200 in the first 6 games bowled. I believe the pressure has finally taken its toll. 200 may win this title. Just 3 frames left for Alby, going at a 187 pace, trails by 4.
Very big, tension-releasing shot. And it helps the crowd, too, because they sense the pressure. And marvelous Marvin Hagler, Bo, when he went against John the Beast Mugabe, had plenty of pressure in his 12th title defense. That'll be on Wide World today.
Yeah, it'll be a good fight. And Hagler was in a bit of trouble during that fight, and just shows his stamina and great ability, and how he can come back, and is probably, as you said, one of the finest fighters of all time. And there's our host proprietor, Daryl Ducat, and his son, Mike Ducat, and Larry Ducat, who does such a super job hosting the national championship. Alby to take the lead, 9th frame.
What do you get? That split. Underlining that.
And you know, he thought it was going to be a strike. It shows how much the lanes change on a hot day. The lanes are drying up. The ball's hooking much more than the players anticipate. Alby thought that ball was going to be solid. Watch his reaction. He says, come on, ball. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yep.
And what happened? Has to go for it. 6-7.
You may have just seen the winning shot. How do they do it with a 16-pound ball and pressure? There it is again.
Somebody says, how do you win $200,000, beat all the best players in the world, 6 championships, 2 nationals? There's the reason right there. Under the pressure, Alby with his back to the wall would have been trailing by more than 15 pins if he misses that. Now he trails by just 4 pins as Tom Kreitz, who's never been this far in a tournament, steps up in the 9th.
The 7 pin on the right lane. What a position to be in, this 24-year-old.
Agreed, Chris. He's never been there before. He's feeling the pressure. He throws a very protective shot. As you see the ball wide here in the 9th frame. He had been high in the 7th, high in the 8th. He wants to avoid the split. Does not want to beat himself. Keeps the ball in a good position. Doesn't quite carry out the 7. If he converts here, he will lead this match by just 3 pins with 1 frame left.
Going against a man who last year won 6 of 9 telecasts. Alby. 10th frame, coming up, 3-pin lead. Kreitz.
The most important shot in this young man's career. If he strikes in the 10th and 11th frames and gets an 8 count, he is the national champion. If he gets anything less, he has opened the door for the defending champion, Alby, to step up in the 10th and take the title.
Swallowing becomes more difficult.
Come on.
There's one. ABC's Wide World of Sports. 2 parts today, that's right. Marvelous Marvin Hagler in his fight against John the Beast Mugabe. And World Ski Flying Championships on the 120-meter hill. To relate to that, the Olympic highest hill is 90 meters. Go up 30 more, and then you get 600 feet distances. It takes a lot of courage. It takes courage, actually, to do what these 2 young men are doing right now. Lots of it.
For Tom Kreitz, the time is now. Strike an 8. He is the national champion.
Leaves the 4-7.
He could have gotten a better break than that, but he left a simple spare. With a conversion, he'll have 190. He'll force Mike Aulby to throw 2 strikes for the championship. The 4-7, just a pinch high. That 2-pin could have come off the sideboard, tripped it out, but not to be. It's going to the very last frame.
So Kreitz does that. And the man who is involved in a 2-frame roll-off With Mike Edwards, Mike Aulby, 202, Ty, and 149.39 is Harry Golden.